Hey everyone, how's it going? Sean back here with Everything REI, and today we're going to talk about California property taxes. Coming right up. So congratulations, you decided to buy your very first property, but now what? Every single year, you're going to be given a nice fat bill for 1% of the property value that you just purchased. That's right, if you just spent $1 million on your brand new home, you're going to be spending $10,000 on property taxes every single year. And that's separate from your mortgages and separate from your insurance payments. But what has California done to make sure that your property taxes stay at a reasonable rate and don't just get reassessed all the time? We have something very beautiful here called Prop 13. Prop 13 raises your property taxes when you buy a house to 1% of the purchase price, but then it keeps your property taxes at that same price, relatively, for the rest of the time that you own the property. So Prop 13 limits the amount that the property taxes can increase by only 2% a year. So if you're spending $10,000 the first year, the next year, the most that the property taxes can increase is $200 or 2%. That's great for a lot of people. Now, if you're a brand new homeowner and you just bought a house, it probably won't make a difference to you. You're still paying so much money for all of your property taxes. But what if you bought this property 30 years ago? And that's the thing that a lot of residents here in the Bay Area have. They purchased their properties a long time ago when the cost basis was so low. They bought their homes at $70,000, $100,000. So back then when they purchased their property for $70,000, yeah, they were paying 1% every single year, or $700. But because they locked in that low property tax rate, every single year, their property taxes have only been increasing by about 2% every single year. So now, maybe their property taxes are $3,500 or $4,000. Whereas if they sold their home and it sold for $1 million, the new homeowner would have to pay $10,000 every single year on property taxes. And that's one of the reasons why people who have been living here in the Bay Area don't want to leave. Once you sell your home and buy a new one, you lose that. Now you have to start paying high property taxes. So people aren't really incentivized to leave. Now, because people didn't want to leave, they actually passed Prop 60 and Prop 90 for seniors to move out of their homes and transfer that basis into another home. But there are some restrictions to that. So first one we're going to go into is Prop 60. Prop 60 means that you can sell a home in this county and then purchase another property in the same county and then transfer your tax basis over to this one. Prop 90 is where you sell your home in this county and now you can buy in another county that is also part of this Prop 90 organization and allows you to keep your tax basis the same. Now, like I said before, Prop 90 only works if you're selling in one county and moving into another county that's also part of Prop 90. And the list is here. You have Alameda County, El Dorado, Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino, San Diego, San Mateo, Santa Clara, Tulum, and Ventura. Oh, but the county of El Dorado has stopped taking property tax transfers through Prop 90 on December 12, 2018. So they're out of the picture. Now, the thing is you have to be over the age of 55 and you can only do this once. So if you're living in this home and then you transferred your property taxes to another home, yes, now you don't have to pay that increased basis, but you also can only do that at one time. The home has to also be equal or less to the value of the current property that you're selling. So you can't just buy a $2 million mansion and still take your taxes for that $1 million home that you sold. If you liked the video so far, smash that like button down below. It'll help me know that you guys are interested in videos just like this one. It helps me make more content that can help you with your real estate investing journey. All right, another thing that's really important to know is that if you plan on selling your home to your child or your grandchild, if your kids are dead, they are Prop 58 and also Prop 193. And this is really important to know because some people just sell their houses to their kids at market value and have no idea that they can transfer their property taxes to their kid. For example, I purchased this home for my mom. Thanks, Mom. At the time, I believe this property was valued at, let's say, $900,000. So if I bought the property for $900,000 for my mom, then I would have to pay 1% in property taxes every single year. So going forward, I'd be spending about $9,000. But because she had a lower basis, she bought this property a long time ago. And so her property taxes increased only by 2% every single year. So I believe her property taxes were maybe around $4,000. So because of Prop 58, I was able to purchase a property from my mother and get that lower tax basis every single year, effectively saving me $5,000 that I don't have to pay to the county. Again, there are some caveats to that too. You can only do this one time per house. This is the house that she was going to sell and then use that basis for the next property. But because she moved over to Taiwan, it was perfectly okay for me to then take over that basis for her. Similarly, I had a friend I was talking to at a wedding, and he was planning on doing the same thing, purchasing his parents' home. Now, they had already purchased a new home 3 years ago, so there was nothing that they could transfer because it still had this old house. So for them, if they sold their house to their child, instead of just, selling the home and then getting the home reassessed, he can also qualify for this exemption because he's taking over the property taxes from his parents. Again, Prop 58 only allows you to do this with direct descendants. So if it's your dad, your mom selling you their home, it's okay. But if it's like your ex-wife, that doesn't flow because you're no longer a part of the picture. And Prop 193 is the same. You can transfer the property taxes to the grandkids, but it only applies if the kids, like the grandkids' parents, have passed away. You can't just skip the kids and go to the grandkids through Prop 193. I mean, the same thing goes for inheritance too. Let's say your parents pass away and then they give you the property. There's a lot of things that you have to be careful about, right? Like you can't just sell the property outside of the trust. Otherwise, the stepped-up basis doesn't apply. You pay a lot of capital gains taxes. I heard of something very similar happening where they took the property out of the trust. I guess, when you screw things up in this way, there's no going back, right? You can't go back and fix it. So they missed this Prop 58 benefit that they get, and now their property taxes are huge. Like, can you imagine going from paying $3,000 a year to $12,000 a year because of reassessments? That's crazy. Honestly, Prop 13 is great because it limits the amount that your property taxes can increase over time. So now you have a very good estimate of what your property taxes are going to be every single year. I know there are some counties out there, or even some states, where your property tax gets reassessed every single year. And reassessment is the worst, right? Because let's say your property, when you bought it, was something cheap, $100,000. But maybe there's a boom in the economy, your property is now worth $300,000. And just like that, you have to pay 3 times more in property taxes. And I don't think that's very fair. So even though our property taxes are high as a dollar amount, as a percentage, relatively fair, 1% of your purchase price, and it only increases by 2% every single year. Take, for example, some properties in Texas. When you buy it, it could be 3%. And then every single year, as a property gets appraised differently, as your properties boom, or maybe you rehab it, then your property gets reassessed and now you have to pay more taxes. It sucks. So if you plan on purchasing your property from your parents, or if you're a parent and you're trying to sell your property to your kids, make sure you properly check all documentation and make sure that if you want to, that you're going to pass on your property tax dollar amount to your kids. Just want to make one more thing clear. If you plan on selling this house to your kids and then buying another property, whether in the county, which is Prop 60, or outside your county to these other participating counties, Prop 90, you need to make sure that you're not trying to use that property tax basis for yourself. Because once you give it to your kids, that property tax no longer belongs to you. It's as if you're coming off the street and just buying a brand new home. Only one person can keep this low property tax basis. So either you give it to your kids or you just use it for yourself. If you're over 55 years old, you can use it one time in your life. That's it. I hope you all like this video. Go ahead and smash that like button if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below with any questions that you might have. If something was unclear, or if you wanted me to talk more about something in particular. And if you happen to have a funny story of how you got screwed over by property taxes, go ahead and leave that comment down below as well. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I release videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I also host a real estate investing podcast where I release episodes every Sunday and Wednesday as well. Hope you guys all learned a lot. Stick around and watch more episodes so that you can be a real estate investing boss. Take care.